Tonight's World Series game could add fuel to the fire between the U.S. and our neighbors to the north. The Toronto Blue Jays have a chance to clinch their first World Series title in more than 30 years. But this series is about more than baseball. For Canadians, a Blue Jays win would be a point of pride and a reminder that the competition with America isn't just economic, it's personal. And that national pride is something Ontario's Governor Doug Ford is leaning into. In a new Washington Post op-ed, Ford calls Canada and the Blue Jays global heavyweights, saying that the team's World Series run has united the country like never before. He writes, even as U.S. tariffs test the friendship, Canadians are standing tall, buying local, backing their team, and showing the world Canada's a force to be reckoned with. And this is not the first time sports have been at the center of trade tensions. In February, fans at the Four Nations face-off in Montreal booed the U.S. national anthem before Team Canada took the ice against Team USA. And that anger spilled onto the ice. Remember this, Team Canada and USA getting into several fights just in the first few seconds. They couldn't even get the game underway. Just weeks after that, hundreds of Canadians gathered at the Windsor border crossing to protest tariffs. The rally shut down traffic for hours as demonstrators called for fair trade and a stronger stand against Washington. And earlier this month, Ontario launched a controversial new ad using the voice of President Ronald Reagan to make its point. The spot uses Reagan's own words, warning that high tariffs hurt workers and businesses.
Is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
The White House called the ad misleading, and it prompted President Trump to halt trade talks with Canada. Joining me now, NewsNation media contributor Steve Krakauer. I've been enjoying baseball lately, and for me, my initial reaction was nothing is safe from politics anymore, right? I mean, here we are watching the World Series, and it's getting messy. What's your take?
Well, first of all, let me just shout out to the producers there. I'm fired up now. I'm ready to go up to Canada and you know, I like the timeline, and I'm like, hey, this is we're building up to something here. This is cute. You know, it's cute of Canada, our little brother up north. They've got a little thing going for themselves right now. You know, they're doing their own trade talks. They're really trying hard not to become that 51st state, which I know President Trump has, I think, jokingly mentioned. You know, we'll go get Greenland, and then maybe we'll come grab Canada on the way home. But no, look, it's a great World Series. First of all, you forget for a second that it actually is sort of this country versus country thing going on. You got the LA Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, an amazing story going on. Got Game 6 coming up tonight, and then the Blue Jays, which, you know, they had a great year, but you know, the Dodgers were thought of this powerhouse. If they're going to roll over, they're up 3-2. I mean, I think this going 7, but I think it's going to be fun. So, you know, you love these moments because the hockey, the baseball, sports, it brings people together. And I think that it brings kind of this patriotic feel to it, but especially when America, you know, you talk about the politics getting inserted into something. Well, now we can actually come together, you know, as the left and the right, as we fight Canada. And fight them in the World Series.
I agree with you. Our producer did a fantastic job setting up that segment, and it does get you fired up. I don't know if it solves the trade problems by picking this fight, but I think you're right, Steve, that more people will watch, because in sports, whatever it takes to motivate you to get out there and win makes it more interesting for the players, certainly does for the fans.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think, you know, it is interesting, right? We've got the Toronto Blue Jays. You've got a couple of these Canadian teams that are in, you know, the NBA with the Raptors. You've got just a little smattering here and there, and then you forget for a second that there's not just a fully American league, but man, they're gonna play Canada, and that before the World Series tonight. You think, man, let's get this going. Come on, let's all become Dodgers fans for this night tonight as we get this going. No, I don't think this is going to have some massive global implications, but I do think that, you find these moments where you can kind of galvanize as a country. And this might just be one. We're going to fight Rob Ford, and we're going to all come together and say, you know what, Canada, stay in your place. All right, we got this.
And it's a pretty risky move, right? Because if it goes back, will it go back to LA, or just if the Dodgers win, it won't go back to LA? But I mean, it could certainly backfire if they take it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, if the Dodgers win tonight, we go to Game 7. I think it's in 2 days or tomorrow. And then, yeah, I mean, I think the ratings are going to be incredible. I think you're going to get a lot of storylines like this to say, all right, this is it. Everyone tune in, because right here is a final battle between the U.S. and Canada for this moment. I guess. I mean, this is actually an interesting one. Normally the winner of any of these sporting leagues, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, they go to the White House. I guess, if Canada wins, no one's coming to the White House. We certainly are. We're not inviting them. Trump's not going to invite these Canadians over to come and celebrate the World Series win. So all of a sudden, I think if Trump wants to welcome the champions of all of Major League Baseball, we need the Dodgers to pull this out.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.